Okay, we're going to talk about verbs today in lesson 7, and I absolutely love verbs. Oh, let me get the appropriate color here. Verbs. So, the reason I like verbs is they describe an action or a state of being. State of being. And what we're going to talk about is the infinitive. Infinitive is a fancy word, fancy schmancy pants here, for to do something, right? So to play, for example. Um, in German, the word is spielen. Spielen. I actually think the German verb conjugation is fairly simple. Spielen is the verb, and this ending of en is what indicates the word in English to, right? This is kind of like the root of the word spiel, and spielen means to actually play. And we've heard the English expression of the word spielen, which is, hey, give me your spiel. That actually comes from German. So spielen. All right, so how do we conjugate? Well, let's first start. Conjugate simply means how do we get um, see, I can't write and think at the same time. How do we get this word play, for example, to match up with the particular pronoun? And the pronoun is simply the name of the renaming of someone, a person, a place, or thing. For example, I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they, right? So in English, we say I play, right? And we also say he plays. Now you see how we conjugated that? You probably don't think about that much, but I play changed into he plays. Okay, so how does this work in German? Well, in German, there is 4 present tense conjugations. So we're going to go through what those are and how they look. We're not going to talk about future or past like I played and he will play. That in English is obviously our past and our future tenses. We're not going to talk about that in this lesson. We're just going to talk about present tense. I play and he plays. So let me clear this out and we'll go ahead and begin. We'll select another. So let's use the word lachen. I like this word, lachen, because it sounds like laughing. And it means to laugh. And the way this conjugates in English is I, you laugh, and he, she, it laughs, and we laugh, and they laugh. So it's pretty simple. In German, it's not too bad. Let's go ahead and write down ich, du, er, sie, es. Um, Actually, let me change this real quick. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to just change this. Instead of, I want to include, this is the informal du, and we're going to talk about that more, but um, the informal du, and there's a formal sie. This is actually capitalized. Sie, which also means you. Both of these mean, let me just change the color, you. And I, ich means I. So ich, du, sie. And this can be singular or plural. So you could be addressing a large group of people, and it would still be sie if you were talking to them formally. Or if you're talking to somebody you don't know, you would use the form sie, singular. Du actually changes to ihr if you're talking to plural, like audience, okay? And du would be singular, meaning one person. Ich, du, sie, and then er, sie, and es. Those are he, she, and it. Let me go ahead and write that out. He, she, it, and then wir. And I'll change the color in just a minute. Wir and sie, meaning they. Hopefully you're tracking with me. We and then they. Okay. All right. So real simple, right? That seemed really complicated actually in my mind, but it's not. Ich, du, sie, er, sie, es, wir, sie. Okay, and then in English it's I, you, he, she, it, we, and then you we actually put up here, they. So how does it change? How does this part change? This, since this is the modifier that indicates which pronoun we're talking about. Well, here's how it goes. Ich lache. I laugh. Okay, so we're just dropping the in on that in that case. Du lachst. So we're adding an st. It's very simple, and it always, this rule is always like this. You just add an st. It's very, very simple. And ihr is lacht. Okay. So that's you, informal plural is lacht. Ihr lacht. And you know, a lot of times when I'm learning a new language, I kind of, the you plural, informal, I just kind of let that come after I've learned the basics of you singular and you plural. At least that's what I did in German. I actually learned the ihr pronoun last, simply because I had so much work to do with just the I and the informal you, because those are the most common discussions you're having is with singular people, and you're not really addressing an audience that you know personally when you're starting out. So, and then because Z is so simple, it stays lachen. So it's just like the root infinitive. Infinitive is that fancy word for to laugh. The kind of the verb that we're talking about. This is the infinitive in German. This is the infinitive in English, to laugh or lachen. So Sie formal, single or plural, is lachen. So it's very, very simple. And then we just add a T at the end to indicate he, she, and it, er, sie, es, lacht. Okay, so we just drop the E in, added a T. Wir stays the same, lachen. And they, sie, lachen. So actually, 1, 2, 3 of these stay exactly the same. Actually, 3, 4 because of the plural you. Lachen, lachen, and lachen. And it only changes to the E when it's I, the T when it's, the ST when it's you, informal, and the T when it's er, sie, and es. And then an easy way to remember ia is just like the he, she, and it. You see how it's exactly the same, you just added a T. All right, let's run through another one just so you have a really good feel for this. I'm going to erase the lachen here. Just take me a minute. And there is one exception. It's pretty simple. We'll go through that in just a minute. And you'll see why. It'll make total sense to you. Made sense to me. So let's use the word sagen, which is means to say. Okay. So we have the en, which indicates to say, to say. Sagen, and ich sage, du sagst. So do you see we just added the st? Ihr sagt, which again, that's going to match the er, sie, and es, the he, she, and it. So let's go ahead and write that. Er, sie, es, sagt. And then for these three, it's always the same. So sie sagen, wir sagen, and they sagen. Sie sagen. So very simple. This is the rule that every verb follows. The one exception is, and I'm going to just show you right here, is a verb that ends in m, n, d, or t. And this, don't let this scare you because it's really simple. Let's use a word atmen. Okay, that means to breathe. See, and I didn't even write this right because I need the infinitive, to breathe. Atmen with the en on the end. And if you see how we do ich atme, it stays the same. But when we get to like du, we add an e, an extra e. Okay, that's not normal. See how we're adding the st like always. We're going to add an e, and that's only because it's kind of hard to say this word, admist. So that's why they add the e, admist. And atmit. So we're going to add it there as well because it would just simply be, well, that's not a very good M. It'd just be really hard to say that. Yeah, atmit. Okay. So it's pretty intuitive, and that goes for D and T. So let's use a like baden, which means to either swim or to bathe. Okay. You can use that kind of interchangeably, except swim in German is more of if I'm in a race, it's one thing, and if I'm just jumping in the water, it's a little different. So that's to bathe, they call it bathe. So ich bade, so this one would be bade, and du badest. Okay, so we're adding that E again, and badet. You see how that works? All right, well, that completes this lesson, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.